East Allen Township, January 8th, 2026, Planning Commission meeting to order. Please rise for Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Daniel?
Present.
Mr. Hemming?
Here.
Mr. Mills?
Here. All right. First, I'd like to thank everybody for coming on this unusual 1 o'clock meeting, but due to some constraints we had, again, I'd like to thank everybody for your attendance and bearing with us. We'll be going back to our normal 7 o'clock time slot starting in February. All right, first item on the agenda is public comment. Anybody like to comment on any of the agenda items? Let the record reflect there are no comments. Approval of the minutes. From December 4th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from December 4th.
We have a motion by Norm,
I second.
have a second by Art. Roll call, please.
Mr. Daniel?
Yes.
Mr. Hemming?
Yes.
Mr. Mills?
Yes, let the record reflect the motion passed, 3 votes to none. All right, the next item is business before the Planning Commission. The first item is JLF Summer LLC Special Exception Appeal Application number 8465 Airport Road, parcel K512 8A0508. Please,
Thanks.
and then state your name and address for the record, if you would.
Yeah, will do. Eric Schock from Fitzpatrick, Lenson, Luba, 645 Hamilton Street in Allentown.
Lori Farina, JLF Sumner LLC, 453 Hemlock Lane, Nazareth, Pennsylvania.
So,
The floor is ours?
yes,
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so as the zoning ordinance requires, a change of a non-conforming use comes before the Planning Commission for review. There's the existing property is a business property that is in a residential zone. Thus, the use is non-conforming. At least, I think about 12 years ago, there was an actual, the township granted a change of non-conforming use to the current uses. The township didn't have available in its records that decision, so I can't give much more detail, but they did have, that an application was made and the current owners were permitted to make that change to the current business. My client is requesting to change that again to what I'll have her go into detail is actually, while different in terms of the product, a very similar operation, with probably the advantage we have in explaining that is that they're moving their existing business. We're not looking to set up a new business and say, we think we'll have this, we think we'll have that. She knows exactly what's going to happen at this site, and the background investigation she did was talking to the current owners to say, what actually goes on in your business, because I want to know, is it going to work for mine? So, Lori, why don't you take it away, explain kind of what you do, and then the discussions you have with the owners, and what will be here, and then you have 4 criteria in the ordinance for a change of non-conforming use. We'll go through and touch on those to the extent relevant after you get that explanation, if that works.
that works for us.
Perfect.
So my husband and I are joint owners in a commercial flooring business called Cope Commercial Flooring, located at 302 Sumner Avenue in Allentown. We have owned the business for 9 years. The business, however, has been in existence for 52 years. So we bought it from the former owner 9 years ago. What we basically do is we purchase flooring material. It gets brought into our facility on Sumner Avenue. We may or may not break down those pallets to then reship out on a truck, and we send it out into the field to wherever that location may be for its installation. We don't manufacture anything. We don't do much other than we bring flooring material in and we ship it back out. We have a small office right now, which can hold up to 6 people. On any given day, we have anywhere, most of the time, 3 to 4 people. At the max would be 6, and that's just when all my staff is there first thing in the morning. Usually by mid-morning, they're gone. My flooring installers will come into the facility, either pick up the material and take it out themselves in their own vehicles, or we have a small box truck that is 16 feet long. We will load it up, and then we will take that material out of the warehouse and deliver it to the job site.
You have just that one truck.
We have 1 box truck, we have 1 company van, 2 company vans, and a small pull-behind trailer. So those 3 vehicles would be left on site when not in use.
And based upon the property, there is more than sufficient space for your parking for employees and the storage of those vehicles. It's an excess, correct?
Yeah, we actually have a lot of parking where at this potential new location. The other thing is we don't have a retail. Right now, the current owners or current sellers have a retail space, or that's a retail shop, I should say, where people come in off the street to purchase some of their products that they sell. We do not have that scenario, so there is no retail, other than just basic visitors coming, occasionally for stuff. We do have small trucks that do deliver to us, pretty much the same exact size as what they currently have making deliveries. We do once in a while have a larger truck coming onto the property, like where we are now. We have larger trucks that come, full-size tractor trailer, but that's very few. Maybe if you're lucky, 8 or 10 a year. Really just depends on what material we're ordering, how big the order is, and when we need that. And that's usually in our busy season, which is spring and summer.
And the property is currently laid out, certainly can accommodate those on occasion, is that
Yes.
correct?
The new property can accommodate, in my opinion, that use of a full-size tractor trailer if needed.
So you're planning on shutting down Sumner Avenue and just moving the whole
Yeah, we would be
Caboodle
completely
right
completely relocating, yes.
So then let's talk about, you talk to the owners to get an idea, hey, is my business gonna work here?
Yep.
Just give a brief description of kind of what they do, and albeit a different product, how yours compares.
So there's 2 businesses that are operate out of 8465 Airport Road right now. One is a picture framing business, which is the retail side. That's where the people come in and look at the picture frames and then decide what they want. That's the foot traffic part. The other half of the business the gentleman owns, and that is a windshield glass replacement company. So he orders his windshields, they come in on a small box truck, they get stored, he does whatever he has to do to make them fit the windshield, and then he puts them in a van and ships them out to the job, to wherever the vehicle may be, and replaces the windshield. We pretty much do very similar thing, just with a different product, which is flooring.
It's my understanding that Ideal Glass and the framing shop are not going to be there anymore.
Exactly, this will replace, you're gonna
Replace
take
the
the
whole
entirety of their space.
Yes.
Yeah.
The reason I'm asking is, I live a stone's throw, I can see
Oh,
your
okay.
business from my house,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, so we're probably telling you some things you know already, but,
Just want to confirm.
yeah. So then let's just talk about the criteria. So, there's 4 with regard to effects, and then there's 1 general, which is that it's not easily convertible to a conforming use. I mean, is this property fully developed as this business use in the area that is business?
Yes.
So it looks like a business property, it's not a house that you could turn back
No.
into a single-family home, it's infeasible.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yes.
And then the 4 characteristics are the appearance. It looks like a business, well, you're not proposing to make any wholesale changes to the exterior, but you'll probably do some touch-up improvements when you buy it, is that correct?
Correct. We need to do some upgrades to the heating system and the air conditioning system, clean up some outdoor space, that type of stuff, maybe remove a tree or 2 just for personal choice. But we have no intentions of remodeling we're not putting an addition on, the roof is new, parking lot's gonna stay the same way it is, we're not changing any of that.
Okay.
So we'll do some interior changes, obviously, to accommodate our office staff and our warehousing needs, but even then, it's not gonna change the structure of the building.
Storage and waste disposal, any impact whatsoever?
Nope,
Okay.
no, we have nothing that's hazardous that we would be throwing away or putting into the
You just
ground.
have regular trash, the
Yep.
containers that things come in.
Correct.
Okay. Like nuisance things like noise, smoke, dust, fumes, vibration, glare. Does your business create any of those?
The only thing that we have, so currently, the windshield glass company has like, they have air compressors and they have some mechanical tools that they use currently to maintain and or to fabricate the windshield for installation. That obviously, that part would go away. The only additional thing that, actually, we probably would even be quieter with the exception of we have a forklift. But we only run the forklift certain times of the day. We also only get deliveries certain times of the day. And those dates and hours can be changed accordingly should that need to be. But our receiving hours right now are from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. to help eliminate any noise or things like that. So the only thing we're really adding would be a forklift to the building.
And then, you've touched on this already, but traffic generation. Did you talk to the owner, and do you kind of have an idea as to how it operated in that regard? And then I'm assuming you know exactly what your level of traffic is, like how often does someone actually visit the site, and how often do you get deliveries and send product out?
Right. So currently, they get some small truck deliveries now. I did witness when we were there on site, visiting one day where we were waiting for some contractors to come and visit to give us some quotes on things. They had a box truck delivery is approximately 20 to 30 feet long already, and that is actually ideal to what we currently have. Majority of our deliveries are on those smaller trucks. As far as traffic goes, our deliveries come occasionally during the week, depending on how busy we are. You know, sometimes they come Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, sometimes just Mondays. It just varies depending on our needs. But if I have to do an average overall on a weekly basis, maybe 2 trucks average a week. Sometimes we might get more, sometimes we might get less.
And then, obviously, you have your employees coming and going.
Correct.
And then very, very limited other traffic from visitors to the site, correct?
Yep. Salespeople show up to sell product to us, and that's really about it. Your basic UPS, FedEx, that type of stuff.
Okay. I think I then say we would rest and open it up to any further questions, because I think we covered everything we need to under your ordinance, or tried to.
So I was looking at Google Maps. It looked like there's a residence on the back portion of this. Do I understand
It's an
that correctly?
apartment.
There's an
There's an
apartment.
apartment above the warehouse garage area, yes.
Okay. Is that going to be sustained as an apartment?
Yes,
Are you buying the property?
yes,
So it will be your property and you're gonna rent that out then?
that's correct.
Identical to what's today. That apartment stays, and that, obviously, that's not part of the approval simply because it's permitted in a residential district.
It is,
Yeah.
but if it's been 12 years since something was done there, then we need to make sure that we know everything we're getting into.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I'm assuming there's no loading dock here, so anything that's why you have your forklift, it's gonna be running around the property, driveway, whatever it is, to unload a tractor trailer or whatever the case may be, pallet wise.
Trucks are unloaded one of 2 ways, either by forklift or by lift gate.
Right.
So, yeah, it can be pallet jacked in or it could be forklift into the building, yes.
Right. Now, so you go out and you install these floors, do you bring the material, do you bring old material back to this facility?
Sometimes we do.
Okay, and then you have the provisions to discard that, whatever needs to be dumpster-wise or whatever the case may be? So
Yeah,
you-
we would provide, obviously, we would have accurate sized, different dumpsters than what are there now, but we also have the means to recycle a lot of that material.
Okay,
So it can either be taken, a lot of our material, when we remove it from a site, is put into a dumpster from a company we hired on site. So we have a dumpster placed on site, it gets put in there and it gets hauled away. Very little of it comes back to our facility itself and thrown into a dumpster.
okay. Norm, Art, questions? Jill, do you have any questions?
No, I'm familiar with the place. Is the kitchen still in it?
Yes. Very nice kitchen, by the way.
I'm not sure if you mentioned, but how many employees would you have on site maximum?
We have a total of 6 employees in the office. Some of them work part-time, and some of them are only in for a few hours in the morning and then they leave for the day, including myself. I'm not there all the time.
That would be the max.
Right.
For.
So 1 to 3 is average most days.
Okay, and then your large tractor trailer, if it's accessing it, would it be coming just in through, like, obviously off of the main road, but would it be coming to the front of the building, or would it have to go back around?
No, to the front of the building.
Okay, so it wouldn't have to go to the back
No,
and try to
absolutely not.
maneuver back there, okay. So it basically would come into one entrance and follow through and go out the other
Yeah.
entrance, okay. Do you know how many, it's parking, site plan shows, parking areas, do you know approximately how many parking spaces you have available there?
They're not clearly defined
Yeah.
at the current property, but I would estimate 6 to 8 parking spots in the back, depending on how you park. In the front, I don't think we would even park out front, because we would leave that for any type of delivery, whatever it may be.
Okay, and then I'm not that familiar with the site as far as where the apartment building's located, but do you have designated parking spaces for that apartment?
Yes, they're right next to their entrance to the apartment, the steps that go upstairs.
Okay.
They're allowed 2 parking
Two
spots.
parking spaces?
So those 2 parking spots would probably be included in the 6 to 8 that I just mentioned.
Okay, so 6 to 8, but you may have 6 employees on site. Is there any need, do you think, to expand the parking area
No.
at any point?
No, if we
Okay.
ran out of space or something, we would just park out front or
Okay.
as people come and go.
Yeah, there is space there to put more.
Yeah.
Your thought was, until we see if we would need them, because 6 is more theoretical than anything else, because they're never all there, but you would have the space, if needed, to put extra cars out front.
Sure.
Right, I mean, they have parking out front now, Jill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People do park out front
Right,
Okay.
today.
yeah.
Right.
They just wouldn't use it if they didn't need to.
Right. Brent, do we need to do anything with the apartment at all, like inspect it or anything? Is it, since we're changing something over now and rules have changed since the last 12 years? Is there
I
anything we need
don't
to do?
think, because it's not involving anything with the current use, I don't think it would be subject to any recommendations.
Okay.
Unless there was a concern of the impact of this business versus what's there today, that there would be a concern of, but I would not see any issues. I believe that was part of the nonconformity at one point as well.
Yeah,
In the application for the zoning
prior
relief.
recommendation from the planning commissions, we don't have a decision.
Right.
Your prior recommendation recommended approval, including the business and the apartment.
Right.
But that's all I have.
Okay.
For
Yeah,
whatever reason, the decision's not.
it was all together at one point,
Yeah.
that everything was done at the last time it went before the zoning hearing board.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments?
I take it the other tenant's gonna be moving out, taking all the paint with them.
Oh, the current,
Yeah.
talk about the tenant in the
Well,
apartment?
the last sentence on this letter that we have says, current use is office space and paint storage.
The paint storage part's not correct, but that's windshield. It used to be a paint place years ago, back in the 90s.
It should have been glass storage.
Yeah, glass storage.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, that's just a.
they'll be moving everything out.
That was a carryover from the
What
last.
type of flooring are you gonna have there?
What type of flooring?
Yeah.
So what's considered commercial flooring is carpet squares, 24 by
Okay.
24 inches, rolls of carpet 12 feet, luxury vinyl plank, luxury vinyl tile, vinyl
This is all
composition
for
tile.
industrial use,
I'm sorry,
all industrial use?
commercial or industrial, yes.
Commercial.
Ceramic tile, that type of stuff.
Okay, that's all I have.
Joe? Okay. Any questions from anybody, the public? All right. Someone like to make a recommendation?
I'm gonna ask Joe for help on this one.
Well, I think it's pretty straightforward. Our item
Yeah.
would just be to recommend the grant of the requested special exception by JLF Sumner LLC, subject to the testimony that's been presented to the applicant today.
So moved. Thank you.
Second,
I have a motion on the floor by Art,
Gotta love Joe.
a second by Norm. Roll call, please.
Mr. Daniel?
yes.
Mr. Hemming?
Yes.
Mr. Mills?
Yes, let the record reflect the motion passed, 3 votes to none.
Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good luck at the zoning hearing.
Good luck.
Yeah,
Thank you.
welcome to the neighborhood.
Thank you, appreciate that.
All right. Okay, the next item on the agenda, moving on, is Knollwood Major Subdivision Preliminary Plan Review Number 7, Saldo 2023-000. Come on down. Appreciate if you could state your names and addresses for the record.
My name is Philip Albright. I'm with Lehigh Engineering Associates.
Phil Erdman, Keys County Consulting Engineers, Medical Center Drive in Allentown, Connecticut. Joel Weeder, Stevens and Lee, 840 Hamilton Street, Allentown. I'm the attorney for the applicant, Phil is the design engineer, and Bill is the consultant.
All right. Well, would you like to open?
I guess the board is, or at least was familiar with the project. We've been before the board before, although it's been quite a while. It's for the property basically just across the street over here. They're proposing 15 residential lots in there with a single entrance and a loop road. It's on-lot on-lot septic, on-lot water, single-family houses.
Yep. All right. In reviewing the materials provided to us, I noticed that the Northampton County Conservation District, there was a submission made to them. There was a statement in that submission that you guys needed to respond to them by January 15th. Has that been done yet?
No, I believe that's in the works, though.
Okay,
Yeah, so that will be done.
right, you guys need, because they'll then make their determination based on what you guys respond to their comments and letters and whatnot, right?
Yes.
Okay,
And we do have LVPC consistency letter that we've received already.
I was looking through your letter of waiver and deferrals, and I think it is not correct. It makes reference or statement to the fact of 2 driveways accessing Abraham Way. I believe based on your latest revised plan, there's only 1 access driveway accessing Abraham Way, which technically should be better,
Right, that's correct. I mean, you were correct about that. We didn't,
but your waiver letter lists 2 driveways accessing Abraham Way.
Emergency access, emergency access off Abraham Way?
so, 3.
I mean, this technically, the question would be, the emergency access road that comes off into the, comes off like at 10 o'clock in the northwesterly corner. Question whether that would be considered a second access road.
From the plans that I saw, that emergency access went all the way down the property, and so you basically go in, and you have your stormwater, your first home here, that access came up and went in between the first home and the second home on the curve. It didn't actually access onto Abraham Way.
It goes on the freeway.
Right, right.
I'm sorry.
Right,
I
right.
didn't realize we changed names. Yeah, I just thought that.
Yes,
So-
yes.
So one access on Abraham is correct.
Right, so that would need to be, that letter would need to be revised, right, to correct that. Like I said, it's actually better for you guys to only have one access onto there to have to deal with as far as people potentially parking on it, so.
And the reason, the reason for that is, you know, when you apply the truck template, the truck turning template, especially for the WB 62, I guess it was, you know, the tractor trailer truck, that you can't make it through there without going into the other lane, and if there's, you know, you got
Yeah,
parking
I
on
think,
one side, you run into difficulties there, and you know, could create a hazard for other vehicles coming the other direction.
right, I think your one plan showed the
Yes,
the
there are.
radiuses of trucks coming in
Yes,
around that
actually,
curve.
there's 3 plans. There's one, I think, for the garbage truck, one for the fire truck, and
Right.
one for the tractor trailer truck.
Yeah, I think it's 9, 10,
Actually, I'm looking for, yeah, there's the LDPC. I'm actually looking for the letter, the waiver request letter. Oh, here it is, okay, I got it. Yeah, I think that gets corrected, there's no reason not to approve the waiver and or the deferral. I don't see a reason. You guys have any questions, or Jill, do you have any issues with those?
No.
This is what you're talking about right here.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do believe truck turning templates, so there'll be cross return. These 2 lots have adequate off-street park, right, Abraham Way, these 2 lots have adequate parking, off-street parking.
so that minor correction, you can see no problem with it.
Yeah, there's no issues with that, either the waiver or the deferral.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
Gentlemen, questions, please? Jill? The PennDOT, you guys have submitted now to PennDOT. Have you gotten any responses back from PennDOT at all?
We had not a response.
Okay,
We anticipate that there would be no, initially, there was most likely would have required a left turn lane, but that was with 20 units. Now that we're down to 15, it looks like that we should be able to just have a left turn lane, not have to widen 329.
a left turn,
Yeah, a left turn into the
From going
Into the
from-
site.
From eastbound.
yeah.
oh, coming this way?
Right.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of volume of high volume of traffic, so who knows what PennDOT's gonna do.
Right.
It'd be nice to have one, but that's PennDOT.
Yeah, and the speed limits, you never know.
Yeah, it's been done, so.
Well, that's, I guess that's gonna be kind of important to get some feedback, because I'm sure there's gonna be multiple communications through PennDOT there,
Yeah.
so,
I suspect a meeting with PennDOT is probably warranted after his comments come back, because there was a number of issues that involve both the township and PennDOT in terms of joint approvals.
right.
So probably best to get together, maybe even a scoping meeting to sit down and go through the details of it.
Okay. Jill?
With the letter from Northampton County Conservation District for your NPDS permit, was there any issues or comments that will require you to make any type of changes to the plan as we've been reviewing it?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. And then with PennDOT though, what I'll say is without having PennDOT's initial comments back in what may or may not be required along 329, we're still not sure as far as the legal right-of-way and if they would be requiring any additional. and that would affect your lot lines potentially and your, building setbacks.
Right.
So I think, you know, until we get that initial comments, and I think, once again, I think we made the comment in our letter that we didn't, what's being shown now, I think is 15 feet total. But, you know, typically, we would be seeing 12-foot traveling lane and then an 8-foot XL decel. So we're not quite sure what you're showing on your PennDOT plans, or I'll just say we don't agree with what's being shown. So we would like to see what PennDOT comes back with also.
As I said, that's one of those issues where it needs to be a joint PennDOT
Correct.
township decision.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
Correct, and where I'm going with it is as far as, you know, any type of recommendation for preliminary plan approval at this point, until we have that kind of situated, and PennDOT's initial comments back to make sure there aren't going to be requiring any significant changes along 329 that may affect your design of your, lots and lot areas. You know, right now, I would say we're not quite at the point that I would feel comfortable with the planning commission making a recommendation on this plan.
Also, I'm gonna add, the deficiencies listed in the Northampton County Conservation District gotta be addressed before anything is done. There's too many questions there.
Okay, and then as well as your sewage facility planning module. So that has not been submitted. I realize all the testing has been done, but the sewage facility planning module has not been
We're waiting-
submitted to the
Phil's
township.
point here, we're waiting for PHMC
Okay,
determination, and once that's sort of, everything gets submitted.
okay,
And I suspect that was affected possibly by the state issue at the state level. I know there's all kinds of problems that they shut down, so that probably delayed that process.
okay.
Yes.
All right, and then what we would request too is that if it is the intention for the roadway, storm sewer within the roadway to be dedicated to the township, meaning the township responsible for maintenance operation, and I'll say even if it's the homeowners association, just to kind of review the storm system, because we made the comment before that there's at least one or a couple places, at least one, where I think we need to make some changes to the system because it is excessively deep. We're recommending at least the one place, instead of putting an inlet, which probably would be filled up with grass anyway, so I think, and you have the roads up and you have a bank coming down, seems like a head wall may be more appropriate. And then that inlet can be lifted, instead of being 10.5, we might be at 7 feet. But if you can just review those situations, you know, once again, and make sure everything is definitely where it has to be, and there's no opportunity to raise it, just for maintenance reasons.
Joe, since you just touched on that, let me pose the question. In this particular situation, and they're all different, would the township be receptive to accepting this roadway system? Or in terms of planning commission making a recommendation, or? We still have to address that issue you described. I think that's
Yeah.
applicable to both, but the question in my mind, because that'll have a lot to do with the HOA and all that structure. What would be the-
We have not said we weren't accepting any roads. I know it was discussed with Sunny Slope previously, but I don't see the township objecting as long as it's built to township standards and we inspect it and our engineer's okay with the final maintenance period and everything concludes. I wouldn't see an issue with accepting the roads.
Okay.
Road, right. But also, the stormwater management facilities have to be manageable for the township as well,
Oh, yeah,
so
no,
with
I
that
was gonna say
design.
That has to be addressed either way.
Right. Yeah.
At least, the idea being that the township is probably receptive to accepting the roads. It doesn't affect the detailed design or anything.
And I think we recognize as a township, we have significant burdens that we place on the HOA for stormwater management that we don't want to take. So in lieu of that, I believe we're okay with dealing with the roads.
Take the roads, but not stormwater.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, the stormwater, like the basins and,
Yeah.
if it's in the right of way.
Construction.
Yeah,
You notice I
Yeah.
didn't ask that question.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I looked at it, and if I understood the plans, it's like a spray type system or something? Is that,
It's similar to spray, but it's underground. It's called dosing. I mean,
okay,
yeah.
but there's there's a pump involved in that?
Yes, there's a
and-
pump and.
That obviously
piping and all that.
complicates things, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
certainly.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. In general, you know, you got, obviously, I hate to say this has been painful, but it's been a difficult lot to develop. There's been a lot of constraints for a lot of different reasons. I mean, you guys have done a good job. The plan looks fairly good at this point, you know, it's a matter of finishing it up, get to the finish line. But still a few things to get done.
If you wouldn't mind if I could stick through those and touch on a couple of things we need some direction on.
Sure.
We talked about the parking waiver, what about the sidewalk waiver, which is comment 22 of the Chen's letter? The sidewalk
Actually, it's
waiver,
a deferral.
or deferral.
Yes,
Yeah.
along.
Along 329.
Yeah,
Three
Is that,
329.
is that reasonable?
Yes, we typically, that's a typical response from us. We defer sidewalks and lighting along like 329 until which time there's additional, make connections kind of.
Okay, and you just mentioned the other one, I want to touch on the street lights. There's now a street light on Norbath at the main intersection, and then at the other intersection, which is Abraham and Freya, two street lights basically. Is that sufficient? Do you want additional street lights throughout the development?
We typically only require them at intersections to
intersections.
signify that it is an intersection, so.
Okay.
Right.
Preferably where, I mean, at the intersection of Pre and Abraham, if you can put it near a stop sign. I don't know which one's gonna have the stop in the development, or if it's gonna be an
Okay.
always stop.
Don't need a stop sign, but I have a
Just to
question.
kind of show that. But yeah, we wouldn't require anywhere else. Unless there was pedestrian facilities, we tend to look at that, but we're not, for this being an isolated development.
Right.
Okay. Street signs, there's a number of street signs, I'm not gonna elaborate the list that's on the plan, and it indicates approval of the street signs. Is there any particular concern in that regard? Again, that may be one of the issues that's discussed with PennDOT at the same time.
I don't know what you're proposing or what, I haven't looked at the note. We try to keep it simple,
Okay,
so whatever you have, I mean, if you have a stop sign and a street name sign, we want those on the same post. If you have no parking signs, those can be spaced very liberally.
okay.
I don't know what else is proposed.
But I think,
this
are you
point.
talking about like the actual street sign? I think we can take care of that at the time of construction.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's comment 24
Yeah.
refers to street signs,
Yeah.
street signs and getting.
usually that's an item that just stays there and then it's subject to construction standards when you do your submittal, so.
Okay. Buffer plans, this is number 25, it says approval of buffer plans. How does that occur? It's on the plan, so is there something else we need to do? to
Is
move
that
it
where
forward?
you're proposing just arborvitae?
No, that would be the basic screen, which
Yeah,
is
this
another
buffer.
comment.
Yeah,
This is the buffer yard along 329.
Yeah, we can look at that with the zoning officer, what you're proposing for buffering. But I think the one question, the more important one, was the screening for the basin.
And that was gonna be the next one I was asking.
Yeah,
about. It
okay.
says
If you have
approval of that.
one landscaping plan for everything that we can review and have a staff meeting and,
Yes, and we do. There is a
Yeah.
landscaping plan, and I think the signage is on that one as well.
Landscape lighting plan, okay. Well, if somebody could take a look at that, because that's one of those items we'd like to clear up by saying you're okay with it, now it's not done.
Sure.
Yeah, and I kind of we keep that on till it gets to the Board of Supervisors in case the board has any questions or comments about it. But, and this will be preliminary plan approval, so it's something that after the board has a chance to look at it for preliminary plan approval, if there's any comments or anything, we can, you know, catch up or revise it in final plan.
Okay. Under the storm category, there's a comment about roof drains, none of the specifics, but it suggests that there needs to be approval of the roof drains.
I guess
Well, it's
connections, I think
saying
it's,
To the
You're
south.
not allowed, yeah, and that's something, we kind of, knowing that you guys are closer to, we kind of did a more thorough review again, because, you know, as things have changed, things have changed. So we did pick up on, it appears your plans are showing roof drains to be connected directly to the stormwater collection system.
Right,
think there were two of them.
Okay, so basically, our MS4 does not allow direct connection of roof drains into our collection system.
So given the MS4, that has to be eliminated.
So yeah, it just shows being disconnected, yeah, it has to be disconnected, run over grass and not
Yeah, okay.
connected directly to it.
Okay, we can do that. I have followed this one before.
I just one question, the roadway cross-section, talked about swapping the sidewalk and the trees, that's a new thing, I mean, we've had that section, I thought that was the approved township section, is that?
Well, I think the township gives options to it, and when we were looking at where the sidewalk could potentially be located along 329, because that was our last comment to show like where it would be, just to make sure everything's fitting. When we looked at the street cross-section, we kind of are making a suggestion, and I think the township has been more leaning towards this direction to put the street trees behind sidewalks, not fitting in between the curb and the sidewalk. So it's just a matter of changing, yeah, that
We're gonna move the
cross-section,
sidewalk on the plan and.
yeah.
So even though it's being deferred, it still needs to be depicted, but it should, the tree
Well,
should be
320,
behind the sidewalk.
yeah, 329 to show kind of how it would be laid out in the
Right.
future.
Right, yeah.
But then your cross-section for your local road, meaning Abraham Way and Priya, you have an existing cross-section, that's how it's gonna be built, but if you can change that, and then you just might have to update your landscaping plan, just
Right,
sliding
sure,
the trees
yeah,
back,
have to
yeah.
move the trees, yeah,
Yeah.
the sidewalk, yeah.
So I think if the planning commission is in agreement, I think Jim Malott was saying that that's typically what the township's looking to do at this point. Okay,
Put the trees on the, away from the road, away
Correct.
from the sidewalk, yeah.
Correct.
That would make sense, because you see too many places where you got a tree sandwiched between a sidewalk and a curb, and eventually it's gotta get cut down, or it dies, or it destroys the
Or
sidewalk.
the sidewalks are 2 foot high.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It makes more sense, for sure.
That's basically the only other question I had, I guess, probably for Angela, in terms of time extension, I don't have it in front of me, but I think the current one is March.
March 31st.
Kind of wondering if maybe we should be pushing it out. March 31st, yeah. Because I'm thinking with PennDOT and this other discussion.
Yeah, that's right.
So maybe we want to get an extension for the couple
You got
of
to send it.
Yeah, that's a second extension, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want, you can fill one out now.
Yeah, I can get you one for you.
If you wanna do one before you leave, we can take it then. That way you don't have to send it.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
so, Bill, you had brought this up, but we had talked to the township about the mail, you know, if there should be a centralized mail. Yeah, and then maybe showing that location to make sure everything works, and then the only other thing is the emergency access.
The fire marshal.
Yeah.
We talked about both those issues coming in. The best thing would be to make a submission to the fire marshal, ask for his approval, he may want to meet in the field to take a look at the access and so forth, and reach out to the post office and say, in this particular situation, would you be looking for the gang boxes or individual, because there's not that many lots, and let them make the decision and then move accordingly. But I recognize that if it's gotta be a cluster of mailboxes, we gotta find a location for it,
Right,
that they're okay with, and it doesn't create any other issues.
right, and if you do, set up something with the fire marshal as far as a site visit, you can let us know, cause
Yeah,
we
sure.
probably would want to be involved with that.
Would you wanna have Jim involved in that, or you, or does it? wanna-
You can just, either one of us.
Send it to J and
Decide.
J and they'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll just decide. We're not totally convinced that something does not have to be done there.
Yeah, no, I figured that's why you raised it, it was straightforward, you probably didn't call it up, given the circumstances like that, it may be an issue.
Yeah.
Okay, no, we're gonna follow up on that.
Anything else? Thank you.
Appreciate your time, and,
Thank you for your time.
We'll see you in the not too distant future.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. What's that?
So we'll swap Phil for Gene.
All right, moving on. The next item is item C, the East Allen Elderly Housing Tax Amendment.
Same text amendment.
Right.
And while James Sang goes out, just as a quick overview, just to bring the planning commission up to speed. There was a submission discussion, I think back around June, July. He provided some very specific comments and concerns. This new submission is intended to address those in very general terms. Whether we've done it or not remains to be seen.
Yes.
But that's the intent.
Yeah, that's understood. After having looked at it and reviewed the plan and seeing the three lower height structures versus the two higher structures, that was obvious. I was a little disappointed you guys didn't call us back to actually have the meeting. Because after that last meeting, we said, let's get together, we can nail this and hammer it out and take care of everything, and there was no meeting. I was kind of a little bit disappointed in some respect, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
So at the last planning commission meeting, which was Thursday, September 4th, the planning commission expressed the concern about the original proposed
Oh,
four-story.
yes, could you please state your name and
Yeah.
address for the record? My
Yes.
apology.
I'm Eugene Berg, or Gene, G-E-N-E, Berg, from Gauk Architects, 1304 Hamilton Street, Allentown, Pennsylvania, 18102.
Thank you.
Still Bill Oregon.
Still Bill Irvin.
Stevens and Lee.
So in response to the planning commission's concern about our original proposal of 4 stories and 50-foot tall elderly housing apartment buildings, we reduced the permitted maximum building height for the multiple family apartment buildings to 3 stories or 40 feet tall, whichever is more restrictive. And we kept the separation of the multiple family apartment buildings at 40 feet of separation apart from one another. So on the sketch site plan, like you said, we provided 3 3-story apartment buildings rather than the prior 2 4-story apartment buildings. The other items that we modified, we also increased the amount of parking that would be required for the elderly housing apartments to make that 2 spaces per dwelling unit so that we would match the township's present ordinance with a minimum of ratio of 2 off-street spaces per multiple family dwelling unit. And we kept the prior requirement of 2 off-street parking spaces per twin dwelling unit or single-family dwelling unit, other dwelling units, which may include 1 space in a garage and 1 space on a driveway. And then thirdly, in the past submissions, the Board of Supervisors was unhappy with the maximum density of 10 units per acre, and at that time, we dropped the density to 8 units per acre, which closely matches the density on the proposed plan. Now, we maintained the density of 8 units per acre in the attached proposed sketch site plan, because when we were before the Planning Commission last time on September 4th, we were also showing 8 units per acre. But just wanted to remind that we dropped from 10 units per acre to 8 units per acre. And the draft zoning map that we previously provided was unchanged, so we did not resubmit it, but in the handouts that I just handed out to everyone on the board, you can see the yellow hatched area, which is on the southwest, the property on the southwest corner of Hanoverville Road and Airport Road, which is a 15.68 acre property.
All right. Questions or comments, gentlemen?
2 parking spaces per apartment unit. I'm having a party. I'm 65 years old and I'm inviting my family over. I got 20 people coming in 40 cars. Where do they park?
We have extra parking spaces on the site also. We have extra parking spaces on the site that are above and beyond the 2 parking spaces, per unit.
Are they designated areas?
Yeah, but But we tailored that 2 parking spaces just to match your existing zoning ordinance, you know, because we wanted to make it match what East Allen Township already requests for apartment units. So we're matching, you know, the parking requirements that are in your zoning ordinance.
So do you know how many parking spaces you're actually providing and like what that would be instead of like 2 per unit? Does it end up being like 2.5 per unit? Because I guess the other issue is that this is gonna allow like tennis courts and maybe a community center. So I'm not sure if, you know, there's adequate parking for those type of facilities.
And then you also have, home health aides coming in for the elderly, giving them daily services. Okay, you're talking about elderly 62 or older. You get up in age and you need help getting dressed, getting your meals. And your partner, supposedly your husband or wife, are in the same boat you are, they need help as well. And where do they park?
I guess my only general comment to that, I mean, we've changed it to the 2 to match the ordinance, but there are many studies out there indicating these facilities do not require 2 spaces. So, in general, if one person is having a party with extra spaces, there may be a number of apartments with only using 1. So we think making it 2 has created somewhat of an inherent surplus in the general parking, with the idea that that will accommodate these situations.
I don't believe there are studies. They're old and out of date,
Now, there's
okay?
current
I don't
studies-
care how current they are. The people are not looking into common sense. I've got my wife going out now to service people. She's a home health aide. The people don't even want her to park in their driveway. So how do you get that? So I don't buy it. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand your concern, but I think that number one, there are according to the plan, there's 190 parking spaces in a lot. So for excluding the twins, which is where I get the people who are not, you know, who go through, as you said, the nuttiness of you can't park in my driveway when you come visit us. But in the main development, you have 190. Most of the people who are getting home health aid are not having also 2 cars that they would have in the parking lots. I believe that in generally what we found in a lot of the items that the utilities run is typically it's 1 or no parking spaces among more of the apartment type living. That's what they've typically found is people who are in a lot of these more of the assisted, what I'll call the congregate living, not necessarily getting assistance or services, but in the general elderly living there. Those who are getting care typically are not driving, not 2 people driving. One of them is driving, and what they should have been, it's another story. But going back to the other places, when you're in the twins, there is room between the twins for on-street parking in that area between the driveways. Their driveways are not, this isn't like a townhouse where the driveways are 10, you know, there's 5 feet of distance between them.
Yeah,
So if you're what?
sorry. Go ahead, I didn't mean to.
Oh, sorry. No, so again, if your wife was coming in to help with 1 people and a twin, there would be room to park on the street and not defend the driveways. In the general building, there is parking lot as shown on the plan that's got parking both toward the building and away from the building. Again, whether that, there would be probably 1 assigned per apartment and the rest being unassigned spaces. And with usual handicap requirements.
So what I was going to say is, you know, we're looking at your plan and coming up with these zoning amendments. But what we have to think about too is when it's passed, it's going to be for every development that comes in. So besides looking at what you guys are proposing and maybe you saying, yeah, you can fit a car on street, there may be another situation that comes in that does not have that ability. So with our ordinances, we have to look at accounting for and requiring the parking spaces. And that's what I'm saying, if you're saying that you have 2 spaces for every dwelling unit, and one of them could be a garage space,
If I split them, I guess the problem is if you look at it for the bigger buildings, but yes, so in terms of it, we're saying that you could have one in the garage, one in the driveway, and that there would be X number of street parking. We could come up with a number of cars that could be, or would I assume be one side of the street here.
Yeah, and that's what we have to come up with, the density, because as I said, not all the designs that we're seeing are going to have the same, potentially have the same ability to park on the street. So that's why, like, whether it's 2.5 spaces to accommodate additional parking, or if you look at the age qualified restricted one, they kind of addressed it as providing one additional space for every so many units, which in this case, it's 1 for 4. So it provides the parking on street, on the off-street parking for the individual units, but then it does accommodate situations where people have guests over or party with accelerate, what's the word I'm looking for? Overflow parking.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and that's why I said, and that's why we were, like, when we were talking about having that meeting, my intention was to kind of look at some of the things that are in the age qualified that seem to work in the developments that are being, and maybe trying to incorporate them as text amendments. And not to say that this plan's not meeting it with the ability,
No, I think
but to
we were
provide
saying
them.
the idea of doing an extra space per number of units would be a lot better idea than trying to
Right.
go marry it to the number of units, because you could end up with.
Right,
That-
with that parking being so many, like a certain distance, providing parking within a certain distance from the units, because we can't have a unit up here and then they have to walk half a mile, to get to it. And then the other thing is accounting for if you're gonna have a community center, or they're gonna have, rec facilities, providing parking for those. And once again, if I'm looking at, the ordinance that the township did pass, I think it was like 1 parking space for every 250 square feet of community center building. So, even if it doesn't apply to your specific, we have to look at it for things for other projects that might come in.
At this point in time, we provide 190 parking spaces in the front lot, and if we said 90 apartments times 2 would be 180 required, so we have 10 parking spaces available at this point in time, to help satisfy those additional requirements that you were discussing. But, certainly this is not a plan that is ready for, planning commission review yet at this point. But,
Right, but I'm
we
saying
certainly
we-
can modify the parking lot
Yeah,
to
we have
find
to make,
additional spaces.
yeah, we're not looking, like this case, we're not reviewing your plan and seeing, we're trying to come up with text amendments that would be for this
Anybody.
plan, or anybody come in that may have a different design.
Mr. Mills suggested, and there were other suggestions made to us by someone who had more control over us to move ahead this way, but I think that a group meeting may be a good idea to walk through what you're looking at is a bigger picture.
Right.
We're looking more
Right.
site-specific.
Right.
Look how
And-
this
and we
is-
understand that.
And you're saying,
Right.
hey, guys, that's great, but this is a law, not a
Right.
plan approval you're
Right.
looking at.
Right.
And I think perhaps a give and take on that basis would be a good idea, and for us to get the message back where we got our different directions, to go that we go that route.
Well, yeah, and, there's a lot of other things. Over the holidays, my wife and I went driving around looking at Christmas lights, and we went through Traditions of America. And it's nice because what they have is, like between homes, for instance, where there's duplexes and whatnot, they have a little set where there's like 5 parking spots that are nose in, perpendicular to the direction of travel. They just have those there for extra parking, as Jill was indicating, and I thought that's pretty nice. It gives people that are visiting a place to park that's not necessarily on the street, because then you gotta deal with width and emergency vehicles and everything else, and not being able to navigate through the area, but it was nice. I was pleased the way it all laid out. But yes, and that is kind of the issue. Plus, we're also redoing another reason we wanted to have the meeting is we're redoing our whole ordinance system. So if we're gonna incorporate this, depending on the timing, it would be nice that it falls into our new ordinance, as opposed to coming in and then having to redo things or make it shoehorn it in or something, if we can get it delayed in, it would be good too. Again, depending on the timing, how it all plays out.
You wanna have staff initiate that meeting? And
Yeah,
I'm not sure who's gonna be included on your side, but if you can just get to us and say, here's some dates we'd like to have a meeting, and then, and have staff
Yep.
coordinate that internally.
We can do that.
yep, we'll initiate it,
Okay.
and we'll
That
get,
might have been one of the problems before, as Joel said, we have another person here who's kind of breathing down our necks in terms of what to happen.
right.
Maybe because you didn't initiate it, we thought you were gonna initiate it, you thought we were gonna initiate it.
Yeah, we were
nobody did
waiting,
anything.
yeah, we were waiting,
Yeah,
so that,
we,
that makes
exactly,
sense.
exactly. So it was a mistake on both parts, an oversight on both parts.
Map amendment only.
I do remember that, don't you?
Oh, yeah, and the other thing is,
Considering this to be the overlay district.
PC2 is going away, right? And part of our new ordinance.
But we're simplifying our zoning
Or
district,
Right,
so
PC2
with
is
that,
technically not gonna be,
do
we have to look at how everything intertwines.
That's
It's
why
still staying
it's
commercial.
help for us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
we're also, as you know, there's the other plan that's out there, depending
Right.
on what happens south of us.
Right. Well, and that's,
Kind of hostage.
One of the things that we want to take into consideration as well, Joel, is that the draft zoning amendment plan, the map just shows this property as being subject to the overlay district. Now, depending upon what the underlying district is going to continue to be, we really need to see whether or not there are other locations so that we don't have a spot zoning issue, or at least an allegation of a spot zoning issue at just this location. So I think, you know, one of the things, well, when we have that meeting, what we ought to be looking at is other areas in the township that might have similar zoning, and see whether or not the planning commission, the board of supervisors would have a level of comfort, once this ordinance is in a position that they're comfortable with, and they believe, hey, this can go other places, maybe we can expand that map to include other properties so that we don't, you know, we don't get a challenge. Not that we would, but, you know, I think we need to look at something other than just the one property on the map amendment.
Hey, Joe, one question. This little triangular piece down here, which they're saying we want to put in the overlay, is actually, aren't we ceding that to Hanover?
No, we're not ceding it to
Not
Hanover.
ceding it, but
It's
they're
still in East Allen, but part of it was a portion of their open space, I believe, from the Hanover Township
Yeah,
development.
and that would
Yeah.
affect their, development, wouldn't it?
Well, as long as nothing could be built there, and I don't think it can because it's already constitutes part of the building lot.
Right,
Or
right.
two, but I don't think we have to worry about that.
It's the area you're talking about is the backyard.
Right,
The
right.
house itself is built on the
Okay.
Hanover
But-
side.
but-
It's where it's yard.
But I think you do bring up a good, you know what, let's take a look at that, and maybe that jog, should not be included in the overlay district, just in case somebody goes to get a permit to put a shed in their backyard or a fence, and all of a sudden now they're in an overlay district that they didn't anticipate. So maybe, what do you think, Jill? Maybe we just exclude that jog over
Aren't we
here.
talking about
Yeah, I
that?
think
That's
it's probably a
not
good idea, because I think there will be a
No, I think it
conflict
was
now
somewhere
that
in
you
here.
say that.
well, and your plan shows the house goes right, the property line goes
You
right
would
through
be
the
right,
house.
I think.
Yep.
Yeah, there's 3 lots that would be impacted potentially by
Yeah,
the
I think
zoning
you're
here.
thinking, they're not
Right
showing
here.
the lots that are
The-
extended.
the
If
line-
the cul-de-sac
line
that
goes
it
right through
proposed,
right through one house.
I mean, it cuts across.
it's the color one. It's the section right at the cul-de-sac below the development.
That's the initial boundary.
The homes are not in East Allen, but they're rear yards.
I was looking different, I was looking at the one plan, didn't catch it on there. Yeah, you're right, it goes through the top of the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, it goes right through one of the houses,
Yeah.
theoretically.
The line that's that now too on another property on Airport Road, goes right through the kitchen.
So when those plans get recorded and they show up on the tax map, we can
Cut out those,
cut
yeah.
out or, yeah.
I think the letter credit's the last thing, there's a letter credit delivery, I think, is the last item remaining for that to be.
That is for East Allen. I don't know about Hanover,
No, that's what I'm
but
saying.
yeah, but for us,
It's a letter credit to you is the last item.
correct.
We recorded the Hanover had 3 easements to change some drainage in the old development south of there. I believe that they've solved all those problems. I think they've signed all the Hanover documents.
Okay.
So I think it's, the last item is get your letter of credit so you can sign it.
Yeah, so just make a note to realign that proposed overlay district, that does not include the boundaries of the homes, the portion of the lots that are located in East Allen, if you don't mind.
And I'm assuming the fire department would like to be involved in that meeting when we have that meeting?
Okay, and then, couple other things is just like re-looking at buffer yard requirements and screening requirements, and maybe incorporating minimum open space requirements.
Okay.
And then the way this stands now, I mean, the one thing that we haven't discussed too is where, if it is gonna go into the current zoning, how does it fall, and the actual section numbers? Because right now, it's just part, like PC2, and it does not really designate it as what type of use, meaning permitted, special exception, or conditional use. So, I'm just assuming that this is something that the township may want to fall under a conditional use. So technically, it would be like a section 250-21.1 D8, because that would be the last
see,
conditional
public
use
water.
under the PC2 is 7, so it would be
Right
D8.
here.
And then the same thing, the rest
Yeah.
of the specific criteria would go under the conditional use section criteria, which would be 250-26E26.
I think
But
it's gonna be
once-
27.
What's that?
It's gonna be 27,
What do we
because
have?
there's a 26 for data centers.
No, we discussed it on the.
Okay, but depending on
Yeah,
where
you're-
it's
you're-
gonna
You're making
go.
all good points, Joe.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be incorporated so that it fits in with both the current ordinance and potentially the new ordinance as well. They're all very good points. You know, people want you to look at it site-specific, but it's gotta be an
Right.
overall comprehensive
Right,
review.
we need to look at it holistically,
Yep.
not just
Yep.
for this particular site.
Plus, it's not a self-standing addition to the ordinance.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, would the board be looking at it primarily as conditional use? Just,
Based on what I know, I venture to say it would be a conditional use.
I would tend to think that would
Yeah.
be the direction to go.
Just because of the size of the development, the nature of it, the different types of
I was
units.
just asking,
Yeah,
as long as
yeah,
we're
it'd
going
most
over
likely
it,
be
it sounded
conditional.
like that's where you were
My
looking.
recommendation would be it be conditional.
Yeah.
I was
I
gonna
think
say,
yours
it
would
sounded
be
like this
too.
end of the table is definitely going to conditional use. But I figured I'd ask the obvious.
But, you know,
question.
you're gonna have most of the work done anyway, so if it happens, it shouldn't be a long, detailed process.
Any other questions, comments? All right. We'll get back in touch
Thanks,
with you,
guys.
set up a
Good
meeting,
seeing you.
hopefully sooner rather than later.
Well, that won't be a planning commission meeting, that'll be like a staff meeting.
Yes.
or-
Yes, that's correct.
There'll be a planning commission workship.
Right. We will not have a quorum at the meeting, but there will be planning commission members or member in attendance for sure.
Right.
Along with the staff and fire department and Jill and, yep. A working session.
I should get Bill Beavis.
Bill's much better. 52-year career, this is only the second planning commission meeting. I went to at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow. That's why I love doing work in the cities. The only reason why I like doing work in the cities.
Well, yeah, I guess,
Downtown's always at 12.
4, Bethlehem's at 4, but,
yeah, downtown, but they used to be, downtown just doing well.
yeah.
Wow.
But they don't serve lunch, I found that out.
Gotta bring your own. Bring your own, Bill.
Thanks again.
All right, yeah,
Thank
good
you.
seeing you.
Appreciate your time.
Okay. Stuff carrying forward here.
All right, moving on to the next item. Item D, discussion on various zoning amendments.
It's really only one, and I don't know if it's in your packet,
I didn't see one.
I didn't see anything in here.
alright. Then that's gonna get tabled.
Okay. We're tabling discussion on various zoning amendments. Moving on to business being carried. The first item is 6780 Jacksonville Road minor subdivision. Plan expires February 28th. We will have a meeting before that. No action is required. Next item is Sheila Gibb minor subdivision. Plan expires 3/31/2026. Again, we'll meet before then, no actions required. The next item is Easttown Convenience Store and Fueling Station. At Hanoverville, preliminary plan expires May 31st, 2026, no action is required by the board. And then the final item being carried is 6821 Steuben Road, minor subdivision, plan expires January 1st, January 27th, 2027, no action is required by the board.
Yeah, they gave them on our slides, so we did check on it, and they said, no, that's it.
Moving on, we have public comment. Let the record reflect there's no public left to comment.
What's going on with that?
Don't forget to
Remember
get
they
your
said that one
ethics
for the filling
paperwork
station
filled out,
was there.
submitted.
You got to obey.
Yep. And since we only had 3 members on the board, made a decision to do the reorganization in the February meeting. That way everybody has a chance to
Oh, yeah, yes.
pick anybody else.
So we're doing the reorg at the February meeting?
Yes,
Okay.
yep. I figured since these guys wanna pick the other guys, that it gives.
Yeah,
them a
I'm just
chance.
trying to think of whether or not, nobody's gonna challenge anything. I mean, we really didn't take much action today anyway. All we did was receive, I think we made one recommendation on that small little, but that was just, that's a recommendation.
The non-conforming use.
It's,
right.
I don't think it's a big issue.
Right. Any questions or comments from anybody? A motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Have a motion by Norm, second by Art. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Let the record reflect, the motion passed, 3 votes to none.